Well, welcome to the TLC Health Freedom Tribe. And this is Dr. Ellithorpe with Tustin Longevity. We meet every Monday night at 6 o'clock, and we're here to take your questions, general responses, not specific. This isn't to replace your doctor visit. But what we try to do here, the healthcare providers here at Tustin Longevity Center, all five of us, are trying to make available ways for you to talk and get a general grip on your concerns, your fears, your concerns, and move toward a healthier us. So it's always been a joy for us to do this, and hopefully this is a blessing for you. And if it is, please share this and give us a thumbs up and like and subscribe so that we can help other people. Hopefully we'll get through plenty of questions. The last time or two, we've had some little sign, at least on my side, that shows that the chat has been closed. And apparently it was right at the end of last week. So I think I got the majority of everyone's calls, but or questions, text messages. If it happens again today, I don't know how to fix that. So if I say I don't see any more questions, it's because on my side I don't see any. So we'll begin today. Let's see. Dorothy Goads says, what is the best way to strengthen a newborn's immune system? I just became a grandmother for the first time. Oh, wonderful. Praise the Lord. Congratulations, Dorothy. Was it a boy or a girl? So the best way to improve a newborn's immune system is through breastfeeding. If the mother will breastfeed, because her first milk or her first secretions that the baby will take is full of colostrum, and those have immunoglobulins that help start the baby's road or walk through this world, slowly exposing to the various sea of viruses and bacteria and fungi that were always around. So breastfeed the baby. That's always the best thing, and that's the only concern I would put forth to you. She goes on to say, would you give your newborn vaccine shots? Well, the only thing I think a newborn needs is his mother's milk or her mother's milk, and I'm not in favor of all of the hepatitis B vaccinations. Hepatitis B is really a sexually transmitted disease. Unless the mother has hepatitis B, I would not give that to the newborn. So no, I'm not in favor of that. That's a newborn vaccine. I think they also give vitamin K. I don't think that that's necessary either. If the mother's healthy, the baby should be healthy as well. And so to breastfeed ad lib, and then as the baby gains weight, initially there's usually a little bit of weight lost in the very first week and a half of life until the baby and mom get a rhythm of feeding, and then the baby's weight will take off. So I'm not in favor of newborn vaccinations, no. Jennifer says, hi, Dr. Rita. A friend with breast cancer is starting radiation. I recommended Juice Plus. Good. Can she take it on the day she gets radiation? Well, the question should be, can she eat food? Because food is all that Juice Plus is. It's the food concentrates of fruits, vegetables, and berries. So as long as she is eating food, she can use Juice Plus every day. So my recommendation would be yes to use it, but of course she needs to be low carb, drink a lot of water, don't eat late at night, skip breakfasts, these kind of things. I would take enzymes too, systemic enzymes, because there'll be debris from the radiation, cells will die, and you need to clean that away with water and enzymes. That's like soap suds. So have her take a systemic enzyme as well. And how much, in general, adult women can take 5 twice a day on an empty stomach. Susie says, how much Argentin 23 should I take to keep COVID away, or is using the spray better? Well, interestingly, I was doing research as I usually do, and I have an article reprint from the Journal of Nanobiotechnology. This is published on January 20th of 2010. So we're talking about almost 11 years ago. And this Journal of Nanobiotechnology for January 2010, the title of the journal says, Mode of Antiviral Action of Silver Nanoparticulates Against HIV. So the HIV-1. And I'll just get to the results. Our data suggests that silver nanoparticles exert anti-HIV activity at an early stage of viral replication, most likely as a virucidal agent or as an inhibitor of viral entry. Silver nanoparticulates bind to the GP120, that's one of the sites in the virus, in a manner that prevents the CD4-dependent viron binding fusion and infectivity, acting as an effective virucidal agent against cell-free viruses, laboratory strains, clinical isolates, TNM trophic strains, and resistant strains, and cell-associated virus. Besides, silver nanoparticles inhibit post-entry stages of the HIV-1 life cycle. So they conclude these properties make them a broad-spectrum agent not prone to inducing resistance that could be used preventatively against a wide variety of circulating HIV strains. Then there's another article from 2009 where they used it on Ebola, which is one of the hemorrhagic fever viral strains, and it also killed that. So I keep a lot of Argentine silver around. I keep it in the gallon jug and 16-ounce bottles. I use it as a spray. I squirt it up my nose. I drop it in my eyes. I do this every day or almost every day, especially the days I'm seeing patients. And whenever I feel like I'm coming down with them, I squirt this Argentine nasal spray up my nose many times throughout the day. It's non-toxic, so you could use it 5, 10, 15, 20 times a day. I can spray it in my throat. I can take a tablespoon of it and gargle and then swallow it and so forth. I put it on any cuts and injuries. So it's bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, only doctors get the full strength in the Argentine 23, but over the counter is a half strength, which I'm sure is helpful, but I would try and get the full strength. The name of the over the counter one is Sovereign Silver. So there you have it. So I don't think that's, is the spray better than to use liquid? I think they're all equivalent. All right, then Libby says, how do you take blood type into consideration in treatment, specifically type O, for example? Well, your immune system is expressed by your blood type. There are characteristics of immunological responses depending on your blood type. For example, they found that with COVID, the blood type A seems to have a higher risk for infectivity. And there are several reasons for that, but one is with poor digestion as a general rule in a blood type A. So there must be some linkage to the genes that code for making digestive enzymes and betaine hydrochloric acid. And these are necessary to break down food so we can absorb them for our cell repair, the minerals, the amino acids, the fatty acids. And so if you can't do that, then your zinc is going to be lower. And remember, zinc is very important in antiviral activity. So that's one characteristic. What I find then is there's a whole host of cascading problems depending on the age at which you discover your blood type and you start addressing it. So if you discover as a child that your blood type is A, then you learn to use extra digestive enzymes, at least with dinner. And then you probably will escape all these problems that are typically seen with blood type A. and you will grow up to be a wonderful Olympic athlete, like so many of the gold medal Olympic athletes are blood type A. O-type blood, in my experience over the decades, is O's tend to have the stomach ulcers and too much acid. So whereas A is too little, O's are too much. And if they have the ulcers, they're typically an O-type blood. Another thing about O's is this is associated in the O blood with arthritis, so inflammation of the joints. So osteoarthritis, arthritis is a common feature. And we feel that the O's perceive the American pasteurized, homogenated dairy as a foreign substance, and the alarm goes off, inflammation turns on, exposed to this, and there's so much homogenized pasteurized dairy in the school systems, and so this harms the O's and turns them into an inflaming alarm. The other thing I found out about O's is that they tend to have the thyroiditis first, the attack on the thyroid. So ulcers, joint arthritis, thyroid attack. Now, it's not exclusive to the type O, but that's what my experience is. And they never teach these wonderful things in medical school. So there you have it. Hopefully that answered your question, Susie. No, that was to Libby. Libby wanted to know about type O, for example. Susie went on to ask, does your office have any written directions for doing a fast? No. We have some recommendations. So if you go onto our blog, you can see one of the articles are written there about fasting. That was done by Dr. Faraj many years ago. If you go on to the internet and you look up Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G, his YouTube series on fasting is very, very good. And you have been trained. We've all been trained to knee-jerk response to commercial triggers, situational triggers, social triggers, emotional triggers, to eat. And we've turned food from a service to our body and repair and support into an entertainment phase every time we eat. And this is through marketing. See, we've all been injured with this. And then when you have the corruptible federal government endorsing these junk food, high fructose corn syrup, processed hydrogenated fatty acid, destroyed packaged foods and cereals and so forth, and then the soda pops and the juices. So all of this is greatly harming us. So we've become afraid to fast, to think, oh my goodness, so-and-so, whoever so-and-so is, says you have to eat every few hours and graze through the day. Well, I'll tell you what, mankind has lived through famine and feast, and mammals have lived through this all the time. So you have to stop being afraid of fasting and just embrace it. We usually start with asking you to just give up breakfast. Try and go till noon before you eat your lunch, and try and then only eat a dinner and try and wrap up your eating by 6:30 or so. So this puts you in what we call an intermittent fast. So instead of going from 8 p.m. eating till 8 a.m. eating, a 12-hour fast, you've extended it to a 16-hour fast or an 18-hour fast. And that's always beneficial because fasting stimulates repair. It's an anti-aging type thing. It supports growth hormone and repair. And then after you're very comfortable with that, we would encourage you to try and not only skip breakfast, but do a breakfast and lunch. So you go from dinner the night before to dinner the next day. For instance, I was so busy today, I didn't have any lunch or breakfast. So I often do 24-hour fasts, and I do prolonged fasts over the year. So you get used to this, and eventually you can try and turn it into 36 hours. And then when you're comfortable going over 24 to 36 hours, then do a 2-day fast, 48 hours. And what do we mean by a fast? Well, that's what it means, not eating anything. So you have your water. And depending on, your background, your medical situation, there are some people who can't tolerate prolonged fasts, such as insulin-dependent diabetics, need to discuss this with their doctor. So you may need to talk with your doctor about your attempt to do that. But one of the greatest healing things you can do for yourself is to reduce your insulin sensitivity by having longer and longer periods where you're very comfortable without eating. It didn't really bother me at all to miss lunch today and to go 24 hours without eating. So hopefully that helps you. And the name is Jason Fung, Fung. I think he does a really good job. He's a nephrologist, and he's helped quite a few people on this. Who is the other doctor? Dr. Ekberg. Yeah, ECH or ECHBERG. He's a chiropractor who does a lot of training on this, and it's very helpful. All right, so let's see who's next. Lawrence. Lawrence said, great book by Mark Levin on your credenza. Oh, there you go. Yes. Well, yeah, and what else do we have? We have Is COVID-19 a Bioweapon? I'm reading that from Dr. Fleming. And then In Trump Time by Peter Navarro, I'm reading on that. And the one I'm actively reading right now is The Real Anthony Fauci, along with other research. So thank you for noticing that. You got to dig for the truth. You got to search for truth. The Lord said, if you seek me, you shall find me. So the truth can be found in many, many dimensions. So there you go. Sarah says, hi, Dr. Rita. What is your opinion about the Weston A Price style diet for a healthy person with good blood sugar levels, kids, nourishing tradition? So I absolutely endorse it. Weston Price was a dentist in the 1920s when the camera was developed, the good old-fashioned little camera, take a picture like your old Brownie camera. He started taking pictures around the world of people's teeth. And he found the correlation that the more primitive diets that had no refined sugars in them whatsoever, no juicy sugar, high fructose corn syrup, that kind of entertaining ice cream, icing on the cake, cupcakes, cakes, all these foods were introduced into the Western diet in the past 100 years. And he found that the teeth structure of the jaw, the actual nice, without any gap between your two front teeth, and the alignment of the teeth, all this is dependent upon eating animal fats and getting vitamin K and vitamin D into building strong, healthy children, good brain, fat of the brain development, neuromuscular development, physical and mental performance, emotional stability. So Weston A. Price went on and actually described the factor X. And that factor X turned out to be vitamin K2 that we know today. K2 was given, it was in the first creams of the years after the snow would recede and the clover and the cows would eat. The very first milk they would make would be so rich in vitamin K2. It was used as a fertility and health support to young couples in marriage to promote their fertility and healthy children being born with healthy teeth. So yes, I am extremely in favor of the Weston Price series and Sally Fallon, SALLYFALLON, carries on his work and his library in the Northwest of the United States. She has lectures. She's very good. She, I think one of the ones I refer to as the oiling of America is delivered by Sally Fallon, who teaches this. She has a cookbook. And yes, we are very much in support of Weston A. Price. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. Jennifer, for a friend, how can balancing hormones help reverse osteoporosis? Do you have any experience with Evenity, supposed to help bones? No, I don't have any experience with Evenity. So there you go, Jennifer. You always got to make old Dr. Ellithorpe do her homework night after night after night. So Evenity, Evenity, EV, bone density. I'll look that up. I don't have my other laptop computer. Otherwise, I would look it up at the same time. But hormones stimulate the bone cells. There's osteoblasts and osteoclasts. Osteoclasts break down the bone because you are always reforming. Your bones aren't sticks in your body, they're living tissue. And so that's why you have to exercise. That's why you have to stretch. That's why you have to drink your water, because the living bone tissue in your body is not just a stick. It will respond to hormones, to vitamin D with K2. It will respond to fasting, and it responds to your hormones. So it responds to sleep. It is responsive to the type of exercise. And so many times I will tell my patients to stomp, 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 like you're a little 3-year-old having a temper tantrum. If you stomp on a hard cement or tiled floor for 30 seconds, that will stimulate the hard, sudden deceleration, and the periosteum, that this is a fibrous lining around the bone, will jerk it like your skin. So I'm going to jerk my skin up and down. That jerk will talk to the bone and say, we're alive, reform, we're using you. So sudden deceleration, like in stomping, stimulates bone health as opposed to taking a walk with these cushy gym shoes. So everyone since the 1960s has been on these super duper cushy gym shoes. And you can do all the sit-ups you want and you can lift weights, but if you don't get a sudden deceleration, you're not going to talk to your what did I just call that? Periosteal lining around the bone. So the estrogen is a stimulation of the osteoblasts. Progesterone is a stimulation of that, and so forth. So yes, we need these things. And I have many 80-year-old women who have normal bone densities, and I want to be one of them too. So as I enter my 70s, I'm doing pretty good. I took a bad fall about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Oh, and remember how I was showing you this huge bruise that was here? All gone. So when you live healthy, even though you're approaching 70, you can still heal at the rate, and your bruises go away and your cuts heal. Like I was washing my dishes and I severely cut the inside web of my thumb. And, nobody can see any scarring there. But that was a huge, huge cut. So that healed up in about 7 to 10 days. So with all my responsibilities, I need this quick healing so I can be here for my work. So hopefully that helped answer your question, Jennifer. And then I will look up Evenity for you, so that maybe on Wednesday morning, because we also do this Wednesday morning at 9:45 to 10:15. And I'll try and give you that answer. Let me write your name there so I know that. Jennifer. Okay, so we got that. All right, and then Carol. Carol says, I did the food allergy test at TLC and eggs. How long should I be retested? So typically, the shortest we would do it is in 3 months. And depending on your personal situation, we can wait as long as a year. And so it depends on how bad your symptoms are, how quickly you're responding, and so forth. We usually say 3 months, avoid the foods on the list. And then after the 3 months, we rotate one of those foods in per every 4 to 5 days. If you have no reactions, then you can probably have it once a week thereafter. yeah, Carol said you reacted to the eggs. So stay away from them for 3 months. And then after 3 months, holding all things stable, reintroduce eggs for breakfast and lunch. Have an omelet for breakfast and lunch, and then wait 4 or 5 days and see if you perceive any of your old symptoms develop. And if they don't, then you can tolerate those eggs once a week. Let's see. Cameron said, asking for a spouse. Is there a natural way to treat atrial fibrillation and the associated risk of blood clots other than to take calcium channel blockers and blood thinners? Well, I have done this for many, many decades. And that's the most common thing to do. And I don't want to, because I don't know your situation. Everyone's individual. So you have to have your cardiologist who is going to monitor you and put many other aspects of this question together. If you're a diabetic, it makes it more problematic. If you have other cofactor problems like hypertension, these multiple comorbidities make it more difficult. But in general, we have had patients who we have them consult with a cardiologist who gets to know us, and they understand we're not saying don't follow the cardiologist. We're saying we come alongside the cardiologist, and while they're doing their workup, we start them on a very low carb diet to try and open up the blood flow in the capillaries. We insist on drinking, half their weight as pounds as ounces every day, so we can get a flow dynamic going, because something that was connecting in the heart, sequencing of the electrochemical sensations for the pulsing of the heart became changed. So this usually means some little cells in the hearts have died and scarred off. Well, very often we can heal or have collateral circulation. So we do intravenous chelation therapy. That's EDTA, ethylene diamine tetracetic acid. And we would do that probably twice a week for 30 IVs, and then once a week, maybe for 30 more, and then once a month thereafter for a while, because that will improve microcirculation to the heart. Then we have them take enzymes, systemic enzymes, to disinflame them. So if there's any damaged tissue in the heart, the enzymes clear it away. We give them higher dose amino acid chelates of magnesium. We use Albion products. Ours is a powdered form. We like to put it with the water, make it easier so you're not taking so many pills. And then we have them follow up with their cardiologist. And if they're doing well and they take systemic enzymes act as anti-inflammatory, anticoagulative therapies of themselves. And so over the years, our cardiologists, we have a couple we work with, tend to really see, how good these systemic enzymes and the lifestyle and the diet and the water and the exercise and the chelation itself is an anticoagulant. And I've never had anyone clot by doing this. And slowly we are able to wean them off of their anticoagulants and so forth. Some people need ablation therapy. That's a specialty of an electrochemical physiologist specialized in heart electrochemical physiology. And they try and find the point of irritation, and they zap it to have it stop sending out its distress signal. So we work with our cardiologists, but we find that if you do these things and then get a full assessment and we find out what the comorbidities are, usually people do quite well and live quite long and healthy lives without the need for so much medicine, and some patients no medicine. All right, so the next one is EH. Okay, hi doctor. What would be your treatment for skin fungus? A low carb diet, fasting, because the fungus likes to live in moist, high sugar environment, and it hates oxygen. And so if you have a blood sugar, you should check your hemoglobin A1C. your fasting insulin level, and your serum triglyceride fasting. Now, the routine labs allow these ridiculously high numbers so that you always stay sick and always keep on coming in and buying their drugs and taking their tests and their invasive treatments. But really, a blood sugar should never, ever, ever, ever be above 85 fasting, ever. I would always call anyone with a blood sugar above 85 pre-diabetic. Then anyone with a triglyceride above 50 is starting to move toward insulin resistance and prediabetes. Anyone with a hemoglobin A1C much over 5.2 is starting to move in the direction of prediabetes and insulin resistance. And yeah, I think I covered it all. So I would also use that Argentine silver we were talking about earlier. I would apply that to the area there, and I would start fasting. And I would take systemic enzymes. You could do chelation to improve the circulation so that your immune cells can come find that skin fungus and kill it off. But it's blood sugar like that that's doing it. So you should have that seen and tracked. Okay, let's see. What's the next one? The car. Okay, the car. What do you think of using higher dose melatonin, like 100 milligram, to support the mitochondria and detox based on Dr. Russell Reiter's long-time research? Okay, so that's something else I had to check up. I'm familiar with the physiology of melatonin, but I'm not that high a dosing at 100 milligrams. Melatonin, 100 milligrams. Dr. Reiter, R-E-I-T-E-R. His first name is Russell. Okay, and that's for mitochondrial. Okay, so one of the, you're going to say I'm a broken record, but, God's economy is excellent, or fearfully and wonderfully made. And when God says, he has scriptures that talk about, I esteem the words of thy mouth more than my necessary food. Psalm, that's in Job 23, verse 12. If you go to Proverbs chapter 23, verses 1 through 4, it talks about, putting a knife to your throat if you're a man given to appetite. So controlling our carbs is very, very important. And the converse, there's many scriptures about, like I alluded to, fasting and trying to deny yourself energy from the food so that you have like a cleanup phase in your body. This fasting stimulates mitochondrial repair and increase in the number of mitochondria and function. So fasting is yet another way to heal mitochondrial function. So it'll be interesting when I look up Dr. Russell Reiter's research on high-dose melatonin therapy regarding the mitochondrial count of each cell, if it goes up, as opposed to how much it goes up in research has been well established with fasting. So I do a 5-day fast twice a year. And then like today, I didn't eat since yesterday evening dinner. And so I do 24-hour fasts without a doubt twice a week, no matter what. So I will look that up for you. I want to say melatonin is not one of the cristae membrane enzymes in the respiratory pathway for ATP energy production. And so I have my suspicions on the degree to which you can expect mitochondrial improvement just from increasing one dose. And, God is using everything, just like the body of Christ. He describes in the Bible as the eye more important than the toe, and where would the head be without the feet and stuff. So every part has its function, and even those parts it talks about in the Bible that are less comely, they're more honored and protected. So every part has its role in the body, and shoving up a high dose of any one is usually not the direction we go. And nevertheless, I do use high dose vitamin C as a support with all my immune deficiencies and my acute illnesses and my cancer patients, because high-dose vitamin C has so much research voluminously on helping kill off cancer stem cells. So that's the rule proves the exception proves the rule kind of situation. But I'll look into that for you on Dr. Russell Writers. And again, I'll try and have that by this Wednesday because I'm always doing research. Harlow says, a friend is suffering from fibromyalgia. Could this be from 20 years of silicone breast implants? Yes. What is the best way to detect leakage? Do you recommend removal? Yes, yes, and yes. Yeah, I think we should love the way God has made us. My pastor just gave a wonderful sermon this weekend and about the clay of our body, the potter and the clay. And I think we need to give thanks for the way we're made. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't try and get medical help for serious issues, but I think all these augmentations and experiments, the long-term effects of these plastics and these silicones are foreign to the human body. It triggers your immune system, creates chronic inflammation, and the life use and trauma of it creates leaks, and your body does not like silicone floating around. And so your immune system will and can go haywire. It can attack you. It can eat up your joints, like in the rheumatoid arthritis and the osteoarthritis, and it can lead to your death. So I would get rid of any implants like those, and I would get with a functional doctor such as ourselves, wherever you're at, and start with fasting. Fasting is an extremely good way to heal the body, and enzymes clean up the body, disinflames the body. Parent essential oils, remember, we only need linoleic and alpha-linolenic acid, not the EPA DH oils that they have tricked all of you into thinking are essential fatty acids. So that's a multifaceted thing. And I would certainly want good circulation to help revive all the tissues that have been inflamed and shocked from this irritation. So chelation would be an idea. Vitamin C would be an idea. We have ozone, ultraviolet light irradiation of the blood. That's a powerful antioxidant treatment to jumpstart people. We also have glutathione IVs and the like. So get with a doctor, have them look at your personal case, a good functional doctor, have them work along with your primary care doctor and see if they can't come up with something that'll be very helpful. Let's see. All right, Carol says, COVID-19 and the global predators. We Are the Prey by Dr. Bregan is an excellent book. I was looking for that title. I want to thank you, Carol. I was trying to figure out, is that Bragging, Bragging? He's from Canada, I think, Bragg. And what's the title of it? COVID-19 and the global predators. COVID-19 and the global predators. Yes, between doing my dishes and cooking and cleaning and laundry and needing some sleep and my exercise and being with my grandsons and teaching them the Bible weekly, and between that and all the research that I do and the YouTubes we do twice a week and full-time seeing patients, trying to add in reading all these books, and I'm doing it. Plus read the Bible. I need to read my Bible every day. That's a given. I can't even begin my day without getting my heart and my head screwed on right as to our purpose here and why we're here and the peace it gives me and the humility it gives me. So with all those things, I got another book to read here, Carol Travis. So we'll have to order that. If you have an extra book, Carol, I'll pay you for it because I am so limited for time in my life. What little time I have to be a a tornado of work and cooking and cleaning and studying and fixing and so forth. So I'll pay you for it if you have an extra copy. Alrighty. Breggin, not Breggin. Okay, B-R-E-G-G. Okay, B-R-E-G-G-I-N. Okay, I got it. Now Harlow says, oh, you are so cute, Dr. Rita. Bless your heart, Harlow. Thank you so much. Glory to God that someone thinks I'm cute. All right, Carol, Mrs. Wheel says, my friend has colitis. That's an inflammation of the colon. Also, doctor said she has platinum on her gallbladder. Platinum on her gallbladder, and he wants to remove her gallbladder. She told him she would go home and research it. Well, Carol, every case is a individual case. I have probably 70% of all our colitis, Crohn's, have done very well and not gone on to having colectomies. That's the surgical removal of the colon from chronic inflammation, because if it doesn't heal, you're going to have disease and problems. As well as cholecystectomies, removing the gallbladder. We've done quite well in helping our patients follow alongside their surgeon and in not having the actual surgery. So I would say hopefully you could find a functional integrative doctor, and they would start working with her blood type, her age, her weight, her comorbidities, if she has any, if she's a diabetic, and we can work through all of that and help her with it. And again, it's the same things that heal. It is the same things, water, fasting, exercise on a dedicated basis, not eating late, using enzymes, both digestive and systemic, high-dose vitamin C IVs, other certain nutrients, and so forth. So yes, there are certain ways to help them, and we would want her to be watched by both her surgeon and primary care and a functional doctor who understands these things. Heidi says, your thoughts on mast cell activation syndrome, especially on people who are chronically ill despite doing all the right things, also as comorbidity and connection to, I don't know what that is, HEDS. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. HEDS. Our whole immune system, primarily two arms, we have a immediate reacting and a longer term reacting arm of it. The immediate reacting and the long term both have receptors on them for communication. And this communication at these receptor sites can activate certain lines of your immune system more than others. And when it gets imbalanced or when it doesn't get shut off, that's when you start getting this chronic inflammatory breakdown, or what we call the what was the name of that? Mast cell activation syndrome. Yeah, and there's many. Basically, if you think you're doing everything right, let's see, I'm trying to see where that is. There it is, Heidi. Okay, your thoughts on mast cell activation syndrome. If you think you're doing everything right, you know, I don't know if you're a patient with us, but we certainly would like to look at you. Fasting has to be a part of it. The more your gut is not seeing food and all the spices in food and a very simplified menu, and you start cutting out meals like you only eat lunch and dinner, that allows 18 hours a day for your system to calm down. Natural antihistamines like quercetin in the DHIST is very, very valuable. You might need a skin scratch test so we could look at the immediate reactions. We would like to probably look at your gut for inflammation in your stool, a complete digestive stool analysis. I don't know if these things have been done on you, Heidi. So you need to be looked at, and I do think you can be healed. But all these things, water, enzymes, digestive enzymes, do you have comorbidity? What's your age? Are you young with a quicker healing path? Or are you older with a slower healing path? Either way, we can work with it. It just depends. So that's a rather complex thing, but it is approachable and manageable. Oh, Carol said, oh, I'm sorry, it was a porcelain gallbladder. Okay, what that means is there's a lot of calcifications in the gallbladder. So if that's the case, it probably suggests that she needs to go ahead with a cholecystectomy. Microcalcifications will improve with EDTA chelation therapy with the vitamin D and high-dose vitamin K2. That's very helpful to try and dissolve this away. So hopefully she isn't taking supplemental calcium because oral supplemental calcium usually is just deposited abnormally in soft tissues. So it's been foolish, these doctors, for recommending extra vitamin calcium supplements. Okay, Harlow says, the EDTA chelation taken in an IV, can it be mixed with other vitamins and minerals, or is it better only chelation? Well, that's what enhanced chelation is, Harlow. We have minerals and vitamins with the EDTA in it, and yes, it has vitamin C with it. So we call that enhanced chelation. Standard EDTA chelation can be just EDTA itself in a very small dose. So yeah, we can certainly mix it. Cheryl Thomas says, do you recommend 0.2 kilogram or 0.4 kilogram of ivermectin with a positive COVID test for 5 days? Also, how much argentin in the eyes do you spray? Well, I just do it. I squirt it several times a day. I never count it, Cheryl. I would use the 0.4. So, if you're 120 pounds, let's say you're 60 kilograms, 60 kilograms times 0.4 is 24 milligrams. And you can do that once a day for 5 days. So I would suggest that if you have the ivermectin 3 milligram, that would be the upper end of the dose if you're very symptomatic. Maybe you could use 21 milligrams and save a little money that way and just do 21 milligrams. But that should do it for 5 days. And hopefully that answers that question. And just liberally spray, or I take the eyedropper bottle and I drop it right into my eyes, and I never measure it. There's no toxic dose. SM says, hello, Dr. Rita. I had a test that showed how hydrochloric acid production showed low hydrochloric acid production. I've heard to take hydrochloric acid about 20 minutes before a meal and digestive enzymes during the meal. Is this correct? I think it's a lot of much to do about nothing, in the sense that when you eat, you need hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes. So orthodigestzyme has it all in the one capsule, and for 35 years I've been using that. And so they're together, and I usually tell the patient to take it after eating, because let's say you get called away to an emergency and here you just dump some hydrochloric acid in your stomach. I've always said to take the digestive enzyme after you eat. In fact, thank you. I'm always getting cues or reminders because I ate my dinner before I came here. So I'm going to take mine now after I eat. And then Even if it's 2 hours since I ate or 3 hours, I'll still do it. Let's see. Rana says, what are your thoughts on the on the Juice Plus Omega blend over the other parent essential oils? Yeah, I prefer science, and the science that I have is the parent essential oils, not these other fatty acid, longer chain fatty acids that are in the other products. So I need to see science on the Omega blend from Juice Plus. I like that company. I like their Juice Plus, the fruit, vegetables, and berries very much. But I'll tell you, I think some of my hair growth and my nail growth and my skin repair is because we're using the right fats. And that's linoleic alpha linoleic acid in the parent essential clinician's preference oil. So until I see the science, Rana, I'm going to stick with what I have and the research on that. Tiziana, hi Tiziana. Dr. Rita, have you heard of either Enovid or Cofixer RX? They are both antiviral products, nasal sprays, both compounded by doctors in Israel. There are studies about both products. No, I'm not familiar with Enovid. I use Argentin. It's cheap, it's available, it's both bacterial, antifungal, antiviral. I can squirt it up my nose, and I usually do it most nights. I can put it eye drops, and it'll drain down my tear ducts. I can swish and swallow it, gargle and swallow it. So I just haven't had to spend money on the pharmaceutical syndicate, and I'm trying to help my patients stay out of the hospital and stay away from supporting these criminal syndicates. The idea is the mitochondria are producing melatonin to help protect themselves from free radicals from all forms of stressors. There is no known lethal dose of melatonin. I'll send you a free ebook. Okay, great. Yes, I know that antioxidants are all there too. We are producing, because we're 98.6 degrees, all our cells have engines, and these engines are your mitochondria, and they're all producing waste products. And these are the free radicals, or the sparks, you might say, from your campfire in all your cells. So yes, antioxidants are to handle that. Vitamin C, vitamin E, glutathione, but God has put in the cristae membranes certain complexes that have alpha lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, and others that help with this critical thing. And you have to understand, if you don't have the membrane set right, because you're eating all these packaged foods and hydrogenated fats, then you're going to have a broken door hinge and a window that won't shut, and you'll have all these creaky structures that you're trying to do your biochemistry on in the structure of your mitochondria. In fact, when we do electron microscopy of cancer cells, the more ugly and the more unusual looking the mitochondria are, the more aggressive the tumor is. The more that the mitochondria looks like a kidney bean with some invaginations called the little cristae, they have a lower ranking for differentiation. They're more normal-like, and the prognosis is better. So yeah, there's many things that go into it, but as a standalone item with just melatonin, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm always open for looking for natural solutions, so we don't have to support the international crime syndicate of the pharmaceuticals. Okay. But thank you. I'll look forward to that, the car, and I will look for that. All right. Yeah, Tiziana, I know those nasal sprays are supposed to, treat things, but Argentin does too. They did just povidone iodine. diluted it into a very dilute solution and squirt up the nose, and that prevented it too. So why are we spending money from these criminals, criminal organizations that have been fined billions of dollars for killing people, and they just count it the cost of doing business, your life, your mother's life, your grandmother's life, your sister's life, your child's life, and well, that's just how it goes. Well, no, it doesn't go that way. If you're found to knowingly be involved in doing this, which they were, why didn't someone go to jail? So that's why I call it a criminal crime syndicate. So no, I don't want to use their stuff if we have natural things that do just as well. And there is research on the iodine. And as far as Argentin, I just quoted that reference paper about the Journal of Nanobiotechnology on the HIV virus that it killed. So I would stick with Argentin. Okay. Heidi Miller says lowercase h, capital EDS is hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Oh, okay. So you have that connective tissue issue. Okay. All right. And Heidi Miller says, I am a patient. I see Priya Patel. Okay, our physician assistant. Just came back after a 2-year hiatus. Well, welcome back, Heidi. Wonderful that you're here, and we'll certainly look into that. Constance says, can daily saline nasal spray and or Argentin nasal spray cause sinus headaches? I wouldn't think so. I would say that they would only help to clean and improve it. So I would say the answer should be no. If you're getting that, then you should see your doctor and have them do a sinus x-ray or a CAT scan of your sinuses and take a look at that. Constance says, also a doctor recommended for flu or COVID to do a 22-to-1 sterile water to provide iodine. That's correct. Or hydrogen peroxide, food grade, 3% nasal spray, American Frontline Doctor. Yes, these things work. Carol Travis says, my husband has a PCR test before he goes to work. Would you suggest spraying Argentin 23 before testing and after? Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I would. And Jigsaw Biker and Runner says, hi. Hello, Jigsaw Biker and Runner. Cheryl Thomas says, does Argentin prevent and treat COVID then? What are your thoughts on 3% hydrogen peroxide nebulization? What ratio of iodine solution to use as a nasal spray do you use with salt water solution? Look, I found Argentin silver, Argentin 23 nanoparticulate is the most concentrated form of nanoparticulate silver to be all I need. So I'm not up on these productions of ratios of mixing povidone, iodine, or food grade hydrogen peroxide 3% solutions with water and so forth. So I'm just going to recommend what works and is cheapest and also has the science behind it, which is Argentin silver, and use it liberally as often as you like. I do it typically every night when I go to bed. I'll squirt my nose so it won't dry out, and it can kill off any bacteria. When I lay down, it'll go back into my sinuses. Harlow says, do you recommend nitric oxide DO40 blend for endothelial improvement? Well, fasting stimulates nitric oxide. EDTA chelation is a known nitric oxide stimulant. And so do we need other products? I am not familiar with Neo40 blend. It may be a wonderful product. It may be an L-arginine-rich source for help stimulating it, but I don't know that product to endorse it or not. But I do know that fasting and chelation are improved for nitric oxide production, and that's a fact. It's one of the reasons why chelation works so well. Tiziana, yes, I think one of them is iodine solution. Okay, and she says, great about the Argentin. Yeah, it's simple and it's a solvable solution So, well, here we go. We didn't get cut off today with your chat has been discontinued. So we're right at that 1 hour part. I'm going to be back on Wednesday at 9:45 in the morning. And it looks like I need to look up evenity on the bone density. I'm looking to try and get Dr. Bregan's COVID-19 book on and the global predator. And then I'm going to look up Dr. Ritter on his high-dose melatonin usage. So to all my TLC Health Freedom Tribe, I want to say stay strong, stay grounded in your faith, because your attitude, even your sense of hope is an immune lifting agent in yourself. So lift yourself and your family and friends around you and your co-workers and your fellow church members up with faith, hope, and love. That's an immune boost you can give them. I'm in favor of hugs. I think even research has shown 12 hugs a day is an immune stimulant for the better. So we will see you next week, and I'll see if I can get any other new articles. I had others, but I got to bring it to a close. And I want to praise you all that you are my Health Freedom Tribe. Let's show people how to stay well, because we've all stayed well. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.